board members and non-board members on my committee, and then other committees that I'm just a member of. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Any other input?
Madam, I just wanted to ask a question, Steve. How's your experience in terms of the attendance when you have your meetings?
Mm-hmm.
How do you find the ratio about the board members that are that serve on the board and the non-members? What do you see in terms of attendance?
On my on environmental, actually the board members are better attend than the non, except for Laura, but it's actually an issue, and it's weird. There's a new member who's not attending. So for environmental, the regular board members have been, the best attendees, and 1 or 2 of the non-board members. So so it works, and it doesn't really, because with the quorum said that, the more total members we have, the greater the quorum that's needed. So so it hasn't really been an issue, other than it's just strange that we have a couple people who signed up to be non-board members of the committee and they're not attending. So
well, perhaps, I'm sorry. Hi, Simon. So perhaps maybe that's the key, since there's been a lot of discussion in terms of meeting the quorums. There's been a lot of reports that indicate there wasn't quorums. Perhaps maybe that's the issue, Madam Chair, where we have to look at who's assigned and really keep a record of their attendance. And if they're not going to fulfill their commitment, then I think that's something that we should revisit.
Al?
Well, I don't currently have an issue with having non-board members. I have there is one person who really hasn't attended, a non-board member who hasn't attended in quite a while, and I think I will ask you to be able to remove that person. But I think what Sonia brings up here is really key. I've thought about this, and I just want to say to you, Alice, I think you've done a good job, at least as far as I know, with my committee, in using your discretion in not just allowing just everybody to come in and overpower the committee. I do think it's important not to have more non-board members than board members, unless a chairperson really wants that. And I think it would be a great idea to coordinate with the chair people to have a sense of what they want or what they need. The other thing I will say is that, and here's a kind of, I guess, an issue when we have the non-board members, and I'm in favor of having non-board members, but one of the things that comes up, and it has to do with attendance, is we don't really have much control over the non-board members. They haven't made a significant commitment. They ask to be on the committee. I'm always concerned, are they going on just because they want to have a say in 1 or 2 items that's going to come up, and then are they just going to drop out? Well, I will say that around the time of the domino, we had a fair number of people wanting to get on the land use committee, and they got on the land use committee, and I'm talking about non-board members. They obviously had strong feelings one way or another about the project, but happily, as far as I'm concerned, all but one of them really has continued to be involved. So I think that says a lot of, it's a positive thing. Maybe we want to make it clear, maybe we want to have a policy, doesn't have to be in the bylaws, but because it's kind of hard changing these bylaws, but maybe we want to have a policy that when somebody asks to be on a committee, that they be told that you are expected to attend the meetings, and if you miss X number of meetings in a row without contacting the chair and giving us a good reason why, then you'll be removed. That's a thought. It's a suggestion I have. And frankly, it's no harsher than the standard I hold my board members to. As you know, I've removed board members who I desperately wanted to keep on the committee, but they just weren't showing up. So that's my suggestion. And all in all, Dallas, I think you've done a good job with
Thank
it.
you. Adam?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I want to just mostly echo comments of Steve and Dell. You know, on the bylaws committee, we don't, as far as I remember, we don't have any non-board members. So this is not an issue that I'm dealing directly with as a committee chair. But you know, having crunched the numbers recently, it doesn't seem to me that there's a real imbalance between board members and non-board members. And I agree with Dell wholeheartedly that the current flexibility that we enjoy without a hard cap on this really allows us to take advantage of sort of the discretion of the board chair, and like Dell said, you know, consultation between the board chair and the committee chair. I think that could be really valuable in sort of deciding these matters on a case-by-case basis. So I'm just going to agree. I don't see the need for a real fixed cap, and I think we're already really considering the right things when we're making these decisions.
Sally?
Fine.
Hello, fine.
Did you call me, Madam Chair? Did you say Micheli? I couldn't hear well.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Well, ideologically, I'm aligned with what everybody said, Dale, Steve. You know, I believe it's great to have people from the community to contribute. I believe that they don't need part. I believe personally, I always felt that the committee meeting, they are open to the community, and I attend the meeting from Steve. I believe beyond the fact that people was part of voting element of the committee or not, I believe they got space to speak beyond the time or the minutes. I don't think that is even an issue to quantify. So I believe community can participate in the committee anyway. That's what I witness. I don't think that would be an issue. The only things I witness that I have an issue, and is the issue of lobbying. Now, if a committee, and I believe Dale mentioned that during like a very probably controversial for the community, you know, that was divisive. You know, we have this influx of people. So it was a form of lobbying, you know, and I don't want to enter into the ideology of what lobbying is accepted or not. Definitely it is legal in this country. But I believe, you know, when there is an attempt to influence the actions, which would be to represent the community, I believe that's kind of what it gets really borderline. And I believe the fact is a conflict of interest, is a bribery, is not, of course, because lobby, it is legal. I believe is kind of getting to an opaque kind of field. And I don't know that can be done. Because if there is a committee which represents a lobby in high number, is definitely outpower the committee, you know, itself a board member. They should represent the community, whatever that means, on which percentage. Also, what it does, it doesn't make space for the community to participate, you know, and despite the fact there may be differences. So that's where I feel, you know, maybe it should be a limit, and it depends what kind of committee it is. You know, I mean, if we're talking generally community issues, or environmental issue, I believe it's unequivocal what the contribution could be. But if it will be a series of oil company representative becoming committee member and start of empowering decision of the committee, I believe then I would have concern for the environmental committee, you know, and so on. I don't want to even mention what happened in another committee. And so it could be for land use. You know, if we be member, they have belonged to the industry consistently, I would have concern. So how do we do that? That's up to you, Madam Chair. I mean, it probably should be filtered. Should be, I mean, lobbying is legal, but you can give your input, but become part of a predominantly of a committee, of a committees. I don't know, it's very borderline. It's between delicate, like I said, it's very opaque where we enter. And that's what I will feel comfortable. Until it's innocuous, it's fine. If will be many community member with very diverse where they come from, you know, that's great contribution. But if it's a lobby because you belong to a group as particular interest and you want to influence on an issue and you have an interest representation there, it's an issue to me. That's what I can say.
Okay, thank you. Adam is on his way to a meeting and we want him to get as much information as he can because he is the bylaws committee chair. Eric?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, you got a lot of background noise, Eric.
Eric. Okay, how's that? Is that any better?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Much better.
Okay, thanks. So I will align myself with Steve and Dell. I think Dell's idea is good about the attendance. But I want to acknowledge Sante's comment a little bit because I'm not afraid of lobbying necessarily, but I do think there comes a point where you want to kind of make sure that the committee is not being biased in a certain way. I don't have that problem in transportation, and I should say that. So anyway, just to finish the point I was out there, I think it's something that we should keep in mind. In terms of numbers and things, I think each committee has a different amount of members because of their different responsibilities and the number of times that they meet during the year, et cetera, et cetera. But so you can't, I was thinking if you were going to cap it, it should be a percentage, but that doesn't really work with a committee of 6 necessarily. But I think for my committee, which is quorum is 7, I have 3 non-board committee members, and the last non-board member is now a board member, and he definitely earned his way onto the board serving on that committee. And I think that's been the case over the years that non-board members do eventually become appointed to the board, and their experience in the committee level, I think, is very useful. I think my non-board members, they're activists, to be sure. Well, at least 2 of them, I think, would, say that they're activists in the community, and I think that's fine. But it's each individual chair's responsibility to balance those members that are more vocal with the needs of maybe a quieter majority or something like that, and just keep balance in the neighborhood. So I welcome board members. I think for me, it's about a quarter of my committee, and I think that's a good balance for me. I think that works well. Obviously, and my committee is fairly well attended lately. So obviously, I'd like to see everybody attend, but I have had full attendance at least 2 or 3 of the meetings over the last couple months. Anyway, all that to say, I think the non-board members are a good contribution to the committee process, and how that influences the votes that go to the board, I think, is overall positive. I think it's hard to assign a cap because, like I said, all the committees are different sizes and have different responsibilities. But there should probably be a consultation between the chair, the board chair, and the committee chair if we are going to codify that in the bylaws somehow. and I think that's it. I just, I support non-board members, but obviously the balance must always be on the side of board members on non-board members on the committee, but the balance should always be more board members on the committee than not. But Del makes a good point too. Some committee chairs that that want a large portion of non-committee members. It would depend because if things are coming up for votes that directly influence, like Del, for example, if you're asking for a vote on a particular land use item that has a lot of legal and bureaucratic ramifications, that it's important that that it be board members appointed by the borough president through because of whatever reasons they think that we're qualified to be on the board, right?
I agree. I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking about Jan, and I don't mean to speak for her, but I think that on her committee, the women's committee, I think that she has always, I think that right from the start, she had more non-board members than board members. But I think that's the kind of a committee that could handle that.
Exactly. Yes. Mhm. I think that's enough said for me. Thank you.
Okay, Eric,
But,
Sonia.
But
Sonia.
in addition to that, guys, I get it because I'm fully in favor of having non-board members, committee members. But I think it's not so much that's the issue. I think it's the number, the overwhelming numbers that you have to handle. Some committees, like our bylaws committees, probably 5, 6 of us, as opposed to the other committees have 10, 12, 14. I think that's what we have to revisit. We have to look at, is it feasible? Because I know Dell gets overwhelmed with so many people and so many opinions and so much stuff. I mean, I think that maybe that's what we have to really look at in terms of, because the bylaws does not indicate the numbers. So maybe that's something that the chairs can discuss with Madam Chair.
Actually, I have over 20 people on my committee.
Wow, you see, it's just managing and it's manageable. Is it feasible, really?
And actually, I don't really feel overwhelmed, but I could understand how somebody could. I think I've got a great committee, frankly, people with all different points of view, and but I would hope not to have even more people, because I think it's beyond this. I think it would be kind of unmanageable.
Chair,
so Simon, can I talk?
Go ahead, Simon.
Okay, I just want to, I hear, this issue, I wasn't in the beginning of the meeting, but this issue was basically brought up by me. Again, I feel that the non-board members are very valuable, as all the chairs of the committee said. I agree with that, but I just feel that it should be limited. That's all. I feel that if to the general public, every meeting is public. They can we hear their views. I don't think it's fair that they should be, as I said before, non-board members. We as board members, we minimum attend at least 2 or 3 or 4 meetings a month. That's why we are board members. I don't feel that non-board members should be able to vote on an item that we work so hard for, and I think it should be limited. That's what I keep on saying for the last 2 years, and I'm happy this issue is being discussed. And I still feel that it should be limited to 2 members, 2 non-board members per committee. That's my idea, and that's what I would love that they should come up with. It should be in the bylaws. That's my idea. But again, any general public is being heard. We hear their comments, and the board members hear from the general public, and we make decisions based on. I mean, I've heard many issues that when non-general public comes to the meetings, we hear, we listen, we hear the issues, and we vote according to what the general public says. I don't feel that packing the committees with non-board members makes a big difference. I mean, it makes a big difference in hearing what the general public has to say. I just feel that it should be limited. It should be, board member has a certain responsibility, and that's why we are members, and we're giving you a lot of time. That's why we should have a right to vote, and that's why I think it should be limited to 2 members per committee.
Simon, could I tap into what you were saying? I believe Dale and Eric define a little bit more. I believe, as Dale has said, probably the difficulties, because it's very tricky. Certain committee, like, I don't know, Janice, my committee actually should gain force by having people coming from different neighborhoods, right? Community issues, outreach, and that's how could gain force. I believe your committee, Eric and Simon, which I heard you bringing this issue before, transportation, because I didn't attend much your meeting. I don't know, probably was a year ago, the last time I did, but I hear from the community, and that create a lot of division. It's a lot of action taking on, and the bikes and closing of the street is very hot topics. And I remember a few years ago, that committee, there were community member, people that lived here forever, and it was very divisive. There were very big confrontation, and those at the committee, maybe land use when there is the right time, as Dale has mentioned. Maybe now is not. That's why the people is not coming. But the transportation committee, I believe, is going to be one of these committee where is very critical. And I don't know how to say, but maybe the difficulties is avoiding is not some. It will be naturally that the number, it's a very high number in that committee, and it's a high number. If you belong to an organization which will advocate only for one thing, so you are influencing on an issue. And if you have 5, 6, 7, 8 people that are non-board member, they are definitely, they even not open to listen to the community, which is one of the mission of which the board member is signing to, trying to listen to the community, that you like it or not, So I don't know how to say that, but a way needs to be found to balance. Is it the number, the cap, the number, or is really filtering? Which organization you belong to, because if you belong, 8 people belong to the same organization, you are affiliated with that, may be an issue, but I don't know how to say, but I believe this is probably how in the direction, more intelligence, more deeper understanding who the people is, which we have to file a full, my latest application for community board, I have to give a full bio, everything, I didn't do that before, but I believe, there are plenty option to understanding who I was not. That's
great point, Sante, because that's true. Madam Chair, how is the process? I'm sorry to ask, but how is the process when the non-board members decide to join the committee? What is the process that's used to select non-board members into committee? Do they get assigned to the committee they choose, or do they say a specific committee, or do they say I want to be on a committee?
Well, they send in the application. I look at the application. They put on. They said what committees they want to be on, and I check the committees. If the committees got too many, too many other board got too many, I think, then I try to put them on one that doesn't have a lot, because 9 times out of 10, the non-board members only apply for 2 or 3 committees. So I try to assign them to another committee, like Dell's committee. There's no way to put anybody else on her committee.
Great, thanks. That makes sense. You think that people, it's like, that's why Santi's getting me to think.
Yeah, because
what interests are they?
It's like when certain issues come up, it seems like people start sending in the applications, for that committee, and they want to get on it all of a sudden. But I just can't, I have to balance the committee. Adam.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll be quick, and then I have got to jump off. I think the sort of hypotheticals that have been suggested by Sante and by Mr. Weiser, I think those are valid. It would be problematic if we got a big majority of some particular interest group in some of these committees I guess my thing though is that we can solve that problem without a hard cap that doesn't consider the particular needs of the particular committees. I think that, maybe people have examples of committees where this isn't happening, but it seems to me that with most or all of the committees, we've got chairs in place that are very sensitive to this notion of balance, making sure everyone gets heard, making sure that the community's voice really is being sort of fully represented. And so it seems to me that, yeah, just consultation between the committee chairs and the board chair could prevent these fears from ever arising in the first place. But I do think it's good to keep those fears in mind as we're having these consultations. That's all I got, and it's good to see everybody, and I'll jump off now.
Thank you, Chris. Adam.
Can I make another point?
Adam, I'll fill you in.
Yeah, I want to just to Simon again.
Wait a minute, Simon.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
We got hands up. Steve?
Sorry. I want to just what Santo said before, Sante.
Right,
You want to
thank
let him go, Stephen? He wanted to comment
Okay.
on what Santo said.
Okay,
So I just want to, elaborate what Sante said, which actually he hit it on the nail on the head. So there was an issue, and I'll be very clear. There was an issue. I'm not going to talk about what issue it was. There was an issue that a board member brought up regarding a transportation issue, and she wanted to vote. And most members, I would say 80% of the regular board members voted for that motion in favor. And the non-board members, there were like 4 or 5 of them, voted against. All right. At that point, that was the point when I really got to, I felt it wasn't fair. We, as I said, and it was voted against it. But when it got to the full committee, when it got to the full board, it was like the committee voted against it. So I don't even think it even came to the full board because it was right away voted down by committee. My point is, that's when I realized that it's not fair. We are there for a couple of meetings a month, okay? Even executive board, most members join 2 committees. The full board, we're talking about 4 meetings a month, 3 or 4 meetings a month. And I don't think 4 non-board members or 5 voted against this motion, and that's why it was voted down. So that's when I got very, very upset, and I still very strongly feel that yes, I agree there should be some. I want to cap it at 2. I don't feel we should just pack it up like as I said. There's 4 or 5 members per committee. I feel it should be capped at 2. Like this, it should be balanced. So that's my point. I'm just piggying on what Sante I think was mentioning was mentioning. That's what triggered this whole thing. Okay, thank you.
The only way that could happen, Simon, is that all the board members didn't show up.
No, they were there. We were all there. Most members, we were all there. Because again, it was maybe 2 members missing, but they voted against it. And again, I feel they had a personal interest, and even the chair agrees. These are activists, and most of these activists have certain feelings regarding transportation issues. It's okay, fine. But I just don't feel it should be packed. That's all.
Go ahead, Steve.
thank you. Yeah, I just want to reiterate, I guess, some statistics that Adam had pointed out, I think a month or 2 ago, about how many non-board members are on the committees, and mostly I think it's less. It's no more than 25%. Usually, it's like less than the total amount of membership on a given committee. So, and I just think because one non-board members tipped a vote against the wishes of some other board members, that'd be the impetus for revamping a whole policy. I feel like, and in some certain cases, the committee will make a recommendation, the board will turn that down and vote a different way. Like with River Ring, the committee voted against it, and then the full board voted that down and then voted to approve the River Ring application. So, I mean, I think, I just feel like I feel like the levels are very, very reasonable right now in terms of the balance of non-board and board. And I totally acknowledge, with Sante, just being discerning about who is brought in these non-board positions in terms of having, a balance of opinions and, representation on that given committee. But yeah, I feel like, I just feel like generally to me, it seems like the system is working. I feel like the chair is doing a really good job with, the balancing and just who's on the committees. And then I think it seems like there is an issue with there's a small kind of faction of people who are representing a particular side of issues, and maybe adjustments can be made, who's on that committee as a non-board member. But I don't know, it just seems like it's working well. But I understand the concerns, but I feel like, I don't know, like I said, I haven't experienced that. I'm on 4 committees, both as members, and I'm chair one committee. Sometimes very close votes, but like with River Ring, it was the full board members who pushed that over the edge. It wasn't the non-board members. So.
Okay, I thank everybody for their input. I only promised to keep you here for about 30 minutes. So this was being discussed, and I want to get get feedback from the chairpersons. And I agree that we need non-board members. I think their input is very valid, and it gives them an insight as to how the community work and if they would like to join a community board. So I think we would just.
Madam Chair, excuse me, is Steve, Eric's hand was up. Was he wanted to speak?
He took it down.
I was just going to respond because the transportation committee was evoked, but it's really fine. I mean, I agree with Steve. Like, when for the record, just quickly, we only have had 3 non-board members in the time I've been serving, sometimes 2. So it's on the the committee members that don't show up if they have a particular beef to like come on and oppose the other side, and that's it. Like the chair said, if the attendance wasn't there, even though it was like almost fully attended, that's on them. And then we all have interests, to Sante's point. I mean, Dell and others work on fair housing, and like that's that's why they're on the board, because they've done the work in the community for fair housing. I worked on transportation issues and work with St. Nick's on housing issues too in the community on certain things as not a member of St. Nick's, but so that's why I'm here. Steve, did all that work to get our waterfront put together and all the environmental work that he's, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, like, we all have interests, and that's the way it should be, just like, but it's our job as chairs to like the chair said, to like balance the interests of the community and try to get something that everybody hates and loves equally. That's what I try to do. And board members, not, committee members that are non-board members are not hurting the process, but it's on the chairs to do the work of the board to make sure that doesn't get out of hand. And so that's all I have to say. But thank you, Madam Chair, for putting this on the agenda.
Okay, thank you for your input. And going forward, chairpersons have come to me, like Dale said, even with board members that wasn't coming. If you got an issue with a board member, a non-board member, we can discuss it. You want to remove that they're not attending, or something, I have no problem. If you come to me, if you got an issue, we'll resolve it, So I think it's very important to have community input, because it's very valuable, because they represent maybe a part of the community that none of the board members live in. So thank you, chairs. I really thank you for taking your time out to come. I know it's close to the holidays, but I want to get input from you going forward with this issue. And I thank you very much. And thank you for coming.
I
Yes.
appreciate the invitation.
Happy holidays,
Have a happy
guys.
holidays. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Happy holidays.
you.
Safe and healthy.
Very valuable to hear.
Happy
Okay.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
And a happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, so for now we'll go into our board meeting, our executive board meeting. We only have 2 items on the agenda. The BQE with Rhonda. And environmental want to invite FDNY and the mayor office to our next meeting to discuss safety issues. And we just got this email today, so we still have to send out an invitation. So it's on the agenda in case they say yes, we agree to put them on the agenda. We don't, you know. So it's just the 2 items plus the normal with the liquor license and everything.
So I'm fine with inviting the fire department because it looks to me like there's a possibility that that the city might not really be focusing in on the potential dangers of those batteries, and the community board did vote against it. So I think it could be helpful to have the fire department come.
Yeah, well, we have to send them an invitation. We have to invite them to come. And with the
Right.
holidays so close, I don't know if we'll be able to get confirmation, but if they give a confirmation, then we'll put them on the agenda.
Sure.
Hey, Phil?
Madam Chair. Oh, sorry.
Phil got his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say if I'm comfortable with them coming also, and if they do, accept our invitation, I would make a motion that we set our agenda for those 2 items, 1 and 2, for our meeting in January.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Sonia?
I have a FDNY coming out tomorrow to the older adults for fire prevention and discuss during the holidays. I mean, there's an FDNY fire prevention unit that I work with for my older adults. Maybe I can inquire tomorrow.
That would be good. And then, you can speak to Joanna, but are you going to be talking about batteries, or are you just going to be talking about
Everything. They
regular
bring
things?
everything.
Talk about
Yeah.
smoke detector and a fire extinguisher.
They talk about the Christmas tree. They talk about batteries. They talk about extension cords, which one properly to use. They've been very good. I mean, very informative. I mean, they're very good in terms of really giving the older adults and us, signs. And they know that this is new with the batteries.
Right.
So, I mean, so that's a good thing I can inquire because they do have different departments, but I know it's a fire prevention unit, so I know they work with everything. I mean, last year I learned so much from them in terms of what were the proper what appliances to plug directly to the outlet, what not to use in terms of extensions, and how to avoid fire. I mean, they were just excellent, Madam Chair, excellent.
Yeah, I've heard some of their presentations, and you learn so much. Don't plug anything up that
Right.
runs constantly on an extension. What got to be plugged in? You got certain things you have to plug into the wall. So if you speak to them, reach out to Joanna tomorrow. Because it's the
Perfect.
holidays, I don't know how soon we'll be able to get anybody.
But it's January 10th. I mean, I can also speak to my contact at FDNY and ask her about it and see what she tells me. It's January 10th, the meeting, right?
Yeah, and see if she can give us somebody that we can contact.
Perfect.
But I'm sure they got their hands full with this blaze at the warehouse. The fire was not a blaze.
Oh, yeah, that's
it's a
true.
fire. Well, does everybody agree that should be our agenda?
Made a motion, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Would anybody
Second.
like a second? Thank you, Del.
Okay, Bill and Dell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes, Madam Chair, Philip.
Yeah.
I'm getting inquiries from St. Nick's Alliance. They want to know, they're ready for us at 211 Angel East Street. They want to know, do we have any date when we might be coming back to an in-person meeting?
We don't know. We're still going by the governor's mandate. Yeah.
Okay.
And Well, meeting's been scheduled, you know, and Joanna checks with Jose and he'll tell us if it's available. But
Right.
I have no idea when we'll be going back for full board meetings.
Yeah, they've secured the place for us. But again, I was asked last night by Michael Rochford just to get an idea. There's no specific timeline, but they would like to have an idea if we can let them know. But I'll tell them we'll take it's a day-to-day thing. It's a month-to-month thing right now, right?
Yeah, you know, when they lift the when we have to go back in person, then we
Right.
will, because as you know, the virus is on the rise now, along with the
Yeah.
flu and RSV.
Yeah, it's a triple pandemic, so that's that's a little concerning.
Tell Mike thanks, and we get ready to come back. You know, we will let him know when we get ready to come back for full
Will
board
do.
meeting.
We'll definitely do that.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Yes, Chair Fuller, I would like to let the executive board know that with your permission, I will be taking off from December 27th to January 3rd, but I will come in on the 3rd to do the land use meeting.
Nice vacation.
You deserve it.
Well deserved.
Yes,
Well deserved.
yes, you do deserve it.
Well deserved.
Thank you. Just the only thing is that everything that is due that week is gonna have to come out next week, so it could be on time. The week of
Okay,
January
so-
3rd, when I return, we're gonna have meetings. We have the land use, we have environmental and SLA committee. So everything has to come out the week before, it will be this week.
Okay.
Coming
So
up,
any-
yeah.
Okay, so I'll send you the minutes before Friday, hopefully. And then if I discuss with FDNY, I'll send you the information.
I also send the fire department an invitation through
Perfect.
our contact, Sandra Sanchez. I'm just waiting for her to reply.
Thank you.
Good
You're
job.
welcome.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Joanna.
Joanna.
I have a question, Madam Chair, if I'm allowed to, please.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Sante, I have a question for Joanna. I just heard she's going away from the 22nd. We didn't receive many legal license. But I'm wondering if somebody's going to send it last minute and claiming the 5 days. How is that going to work? Are we going to, because I know there were legal licenses that were coming, but it's kind of unknown. We didn't receive many application, I believe. Are we going to have a very limited number? I didn't see an agenda of the SLA yet, but I'm wondering if we're going to have a license last minute and not having the time. It's kind of tricky time, January 5th.
Okay, Sante. So I'm taking off. The city is off on the 26th. So the days that I'm starting to take off from my time is the 27th. Every liquor license will send a notice notifying them that they have to put this 5 days before the meeting, and it says 5 business days before the meeting, and so not including weekends. So they should send everything on time, and if they don't, we did notify them.
Okay.
Bill.
Oh,
Bill.
sorry. Yeah, no, that was my mistake. That was from before.
Oh, because I see your hand waving.
Yeah, that was from before.
Simon, you still on?
I'm here, yes.
Simon, I called you and you never returned my call because you never sent Joanna an email directing her about the posting.
I have to send an email. No, I wasn't supposed to send. I was just supposed to find out about the 2 postings for free at the AM. We were still waiting to get the funding from what's the name? She was supposed to send the report about the meeting requesting the 400, the funding for the advertisement. That we're waiting for from the committee, the budget committee.
Maria?
We weren't
Send it.
supposed to
Maria.
wait on that. You were supposed to give her direction when we start doing the free advertisement. And
Nope.
send a
Well-
copy of the position to the full board and
Was it
send
was
it,
it
and put it on the website.
is it on the website already?
You didn't tell you didn't send Joanna an email giving her directions to do it.
Oh, well, misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. I thought it was automatically after the meeting that
Dale,
she would.
you were at the
Well,
meeting. Sonia, you were at the meeting. Wasn't that the last thing we said?
Yes.
well, we have Sonia. We have Joanna on the line.
Huh?
Is she on the line now, Joanna?
Yeah, but
I
you
am
got to
on-
send. You got to put it. You got to put it in writing, Simon.
Writing,
You got to
okay,
send her an
good.
email so she can put it on there. And our website
Okay.
is intermittently, and it was down again today, where we can't send we can't send the whole board an email. So Joanna's been working on that off and on ever since Thanksgiving. So, you need to send her an email and give her the direction to put it on the website and send it to the full board.
Okay, do it immediately.
Yeah, because I called you and you never called me back.
Oh, I'm sorry. My granddaughter was in hospital. She had the RSV virus. So I was busy with that. Just came home yesterday from the hospital.
How
Thank
is
God,
she?
thank
She
God.
okay?
Yeah, thank God. Just came home already, so busy with that.
Sorry to hear that, Simon. I hope she have a speedy recovery.
Yeah,
How
it's
old
okay
is
now.
she?
Yeah, just running around with the small children, the RSV virus.
Yes.
Mhm.
And thank God she was in NYU and they did a great job. And thank God she's home already. So
How
she's
old
hopefully
is
really coming now.
How old is she?
Good, good.
No, she's like 1 year, nearly 1 year. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, but thank God it's close. She's okay now. They took care of NYU. Is
Yes.
great, very, very helpful, and so hopefully we'll move forward. Fine. So I'm gonna send out the email as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, because everything is ready to go. You just got to give permission, and we need to get this moving. Okay, is there anything else?
No.
Thank you, Sonia. Okay.
Other than happy holidays, safe. and
Happy
have a
holidays.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sam.
Miss
Yeah,
you
bye-bye.
guys.
Healthy.
I
Take
miss
care,
you
everybody.
guys
Have a
so
good evening.
much.
Be
Yeah.
safe.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
You
Stay
too.
well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.